Good morning, and welcome to the Headwaters, 41 CM 204. I haven't been on the updates for a while, but I wanted to briefly introduce myself again. I'm Josh, back at it, and I wanted to give you guys a real quick, brief update of the site. We're joined by Jason Perez, Matt Larson, and Brian Heisinger, all of our excavation crew out here in our Frankenstein tent. When we came to the site on Tuesday morning it was last Saturday, the tent was in 3 pieces blown up against the tree over there. And so this is our handy engineering work of putting the tent back together and having some functionality of it. So, welcome. So because of the rains and the wind, we've pretty much decided to stick to Block A for a few days this week until we get our shoring installed in Block B. But as you can see, we're working on a multitude of burned rock features. Shocker, that's what we've been doing out here. So we got Brian over here working in. He's halved a large oven that we've been working on, burned rock oven. It's basin shaped, got a bunch of very large rocks in it. Matt over here is working in what looks to be a lower separate burned rock midden, probably earlier. We don't have any dates on it yet, obviously, but we're looking at probably the early late Archaic or possibly the late middle Archaic. I know it's a little confusing. And recently, yesterday, we've exposed another sort of hearth oven feature, cooking feature potentially, and it's this one's pretty cool because it's a figure 8 shape, and I haven't seen any of them out here like this. This is kind of what we think is the central heating or a major heating element, and then right next to it is the discard. So they kind of just like maybe use the rocks that were viable and discarded the ones that weren't over here. So, but yeah, we've got a lot going on in here, and we will continue to be working in here probably throughout the excavation, and hopefully encountering more and more of these really interesting and intricate burned rock features as we progress down through the unit.
How would you rate the cold level today? Got a question about the temperature.
It wasn't. I'd say yesterday was a lot worse with the 25-mile-an-hour wind, but it was definitely really chilly when we got out here this morning. And to make matters worse, as you can see, I got doused with water when I was pulling the tarp back in Block C. So it's a magical experience this morning today out here at the Headwaters, cold and water-wise. So yeah. But well, guys, this is kind of what we've got going on out here. Next week we'll have a quick segment over in Block D where we'll have the shoring in, and Jason, aka the Badger, will have probably excavated, I'm guessing, between 20 and 30 levels at that point over there. So we look forward to showing you hopefully some more dense early Archaic deposits. But see, yeah, great tent. So we're gonna switch it up a little bit. Usually, the last couple weeks we've been kind of showing you different archaeology techniques as far as digging or measuring and stuff like that. But today we wanted to have a more intimate experience, and I wanted to introduce you all to 2 of our lovely crew members here in Noel and Susan. Susan joins us from Texas State, and Noel, tell us a little bit about yourself, Noel.
Hello out there in YouTube land. I'm Noelle Steinley. I previously went to school at Texas Tech University. Woo. And now I am out here moving dirt as quickly as possible. You will recognize me from previous installments of this show as What's in My Dig Kit and GPS units. How do we use them? I held that Stadia rod. Hacha.
All right. Well, that's great, Noel. I mean, it seems like you have a multitude of roles for this project. So can you tell us a little bit more of what you're doing right now?
Well, right now I am screening this lovely dirt that Jason had out there. So my job is to quickly and expediently go through all this dirt, pull out the rocks so that we can then count and weigh them and sort them by size, and go through all these lovely artifacts that we are finding right now.
Nice. So yeah, so tell me about some of these artifacts. What's some of the more interesting things you've seen since you've been out here working with us at the Headwaters?
Well, we found a lot of really cool points and stuff, and just like this lovely one that we found just a little bit earlier this morning. Look at that, isn't it nice?
Yeah, cool.
Ooh, do you know what kind of point that is?
I don't want to make any steadfast guesses out there, but if I had to, if you made me guess, I'd say it looks like maybe a broken Pertinalis point, or potentially some other late archaic atlatl dark point.
Yeah,
if
yeah,
I was
that seems about right. I also do not know for sure, and we don't like to guess. But
we don't like to guess. We want to be. Yeah, we save that to the experts.
We do save that for the experts who are back in the lab, waiting for all of these artifacts to get to them.
So, what'd you study at Texas Tech?
So at Texas Tech, I actually studied anthropology, hoping that this is what I would go into, and wouldn't you know, here I am.
That's amazing.
You too can do a 4-year degree to end up digging ditches.
So let's do a little background info on you here, Noelle. Are you native to Texas?
I sure am. I was born in South Texas, south of San Antonio, in Jordanton.
Oh wow.
So yeah, little farming community. Always played in the dirt, never grew out of it.
So when did you begin to see archaeology as a subject that interests you? And when did you start to look at possible professional choice?
So probably about the time I saw Indiana Jones as a kid, like when we all did. Of course, my favorite is Last Crusade, because Sean Connery fan.
Awesome.
Totally.
So were you a big fan of Crystal Skull? Our director, Mason Miller, has informed me that is his by far favorite Indiana Jones movie, and that he will go to battle for it all day long.
It doesn't exist in my world. No, it is not there. I'm sorry.
So I know that you are quite the world traveler and spend a fair bit of time excavating overseas. Could you tell us a little bit of what's the coolest thing you've ever found and the coolest place you've ever worked?
Wow. 2 summers ago, I got to go to Sicily and work on a Roman bathhouse that still had the tile floors, and my God, that's the coolest thing I've ever done. And it also didn't hurt that the whole site was about 100 meters off the beach, so at the end of the day, you would crawl under the chain link fence, kind of like we have here, except there was a beach right on the other side, and we'd go swim in the ocean. That was pretty nice,
That's
gotta
awesome.
say.
Man, I'm jealous. I've not got to do stuff that cool. I'd probably say getting to work. I did a 6-week camping trip in Montana where we were excavating along the Colorado River, the Columbia River, just at the border of Saskatchewan and Montana. That was pretty cool. But man, Sicily bathhouse,
Yes.
Jealous.
Solid.
So what would you say is the best part about being an archaeologist? Like some of the perks that you've kind of enjoyed over the years?
I have met a bunch of really interesting people. I have got to dig in some amazing places, and I get to work outside, you know? I was never good at having an office job, so I really couldn't see myself doing anything else.
Right on. Yeah, that's kind of the same for me too. I really have enjoyed working outside pretty much.
Yeah.
The majority of my career, unlike you working stiffs who are viewing me on YouTube right now. So, and just kidding. But anyway, so okay, well that's pretty cool. And what would you say some of the hardest part and the challenges are that you've dealt with over the years?
So occasionally it's hard to be gone from home as long as we are. I have spent years working on pipelines where I was gone for over 30 weeks out of a year. And it is very hard to have any kind of home life. And working also in the elements can be kind of a downer, especially when it's snowing and you have to go out and dig shovel tests. So it's not all fancy and wonderful.
Oh, you mean sort of like when it's 25-mile-an-hour winds and
we're
it's
trying to
32
put up a
degrees
tent
outside and the tent blows away?
Yeah,
I've been there.
I feel like we have just gone through this.
Okay, so what's an aspect of this work that people may not know?
We actually do spend a lot of time in an office. Yeah. It's not all outdoors. It's not all out finding stuff. We have to spend a good 3 or 4 months analyzing all the artifacts and writing up reports that then get bound into journals and sent out.
Yeah, you do a lot of fair bit of artifact washing, cleaning, cataloging back in our lab in Austin, right?
Yes, I do. And sometimes it's quite nice, especially when it's pouring rain outside. Then it is quite nice to be inside in a lab drinking coffee and looking at things under a microscope.
Right on.
Hey Noelle, you mentioned shovel tests. What are shovel tests?
So a shovel test is when we're just doing a very basic exploratory survey. So out here you've got we have this giant hole that we're taking all the way down, and it's all in one giant area. But with a shovel test, we are digging a circle about this big around, so about the width of a shovel, and we're taking it down about 1 meter, and it's to see if there is any human habitation in a very spread out area, because we'll dig like 3 in an acre.
Yeah. So, okay, well, that's awesome. Yeah, and we want to wrap up here real quick because we got some stuff to do this afternoon and keep digging out. But I wanted to ask you a few insider questions for the young ones out there that are watching us today. Can you tell us, thinking back to your elementary through high school years, which subjects did you wind up applying using most in our fieldwork, like today, for example?
Well, I mean, you need a good basis in science and arts. Art, they don't really tell you about, but we have to do a lot of drawing of artifacts, especially when we're out in the field. I
would say like physical fitness.
Yeah,
gym
you
class
totally
as well.
need PE because it's all about the, you need to be able to lift weights and steady on.
Yeah, it's pretty, I don't know, it can get pretty, walking 10 to 12 miles a day sometimes out on survey or digging, 5-6 units a day out here or levels a day out here. It can be pretty taxing on the body, especially the knees and arms.
You also need to be able to write because writing is a big part, so definitely study some grammar, whether you like it or not.
So this is a really important question. What do you like to pack in your field lunch?
Ooh. Well, that depends. If we're out here, I can actually pack something that we can heat up. So I like a lot of carbs because it's cold. So right now it's a lot of pastas and usually an apple and a lot of hot coffee. But when I'm out doing survey, it's usually going to be trail mix and jerky, all the water I can drink, and usually a pack of emergency just for that end of the day bump that you need to keep on working.
Right on. I like it. And okay, so, another really important question, and the last one we'll close here with is, during your time off, what do you like to do?
Mostly, I garden at home, so I can't get out of playing in the dirt, obviously. As much as I try, it doesn't happen much. So, and I like to sit in my hot tub.
Okay, always
That's a plus.
Right on. Well, thank you, Noelle. That was great. You heard it here, right from the mouth of a wonderful archaeologist. Noelle's one of the hardest workers we have out here, screening dirt for us all day. So, great. And just real quick, Noelle, what's one piece of advice for anyone out there who wants to be an archaeologist?
First, I would say make sure that you have multiple options on things you can do. So definitely digging holes is a great way to do it, but also maybe think about going into GIS because map making is something a lot of people need in our job and they don't tell you that they need it until later. So that is my suggestion. Make sure you can make maps. Maps are good.
There you go, guys. All right. Well, I appreciate everyone joining us today. I hope you enjoyed our little summary with Noelle. I think we won't be out here next week, or we won't have a video ready for you all next week, but I think in 2 weeks we'll join us with another one of our archaeological crew members and kind of go into some more fun facts about them. So thank you all, and we look forward to seeing you next week.